Every single morning I'd have mental breakdowns of what I was wearing. Play to lose. I will give you the blueprint that I followed, and I really believe your network is your net worth. I take it so seriously.
Do you share everything in the business online?
In order to be great at anything, and in order to build something really worthwhile, you need to
Ash, welcome to Top of Mind.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. You were on my hit list of people that I wanted on my podcast in 2026. And I was like, right, instead of putting it off, I'm just going to message these people that I have followed for such a long period of time and really want to kind of pick their brains, support their business and their brand, but like just have them on my podcast. So I'm really excited that you're here.
That is so crazy to me because I still feel like I'm in my bedroom or in my office now, making TikToks about a brand that nobody knows. And the fact that more than me and my mum know about the brand is like unbelievable.
No, I love that. I think the similar thing when you said to me, oh, I've listened to your podcast before. I was like, what?
Yeah, I have. I'm a huge fan.
No, but when you said that, I was talking about this with Alexis previously because we both have podcasts. And I'm like, right now, it's just my crew here.
Yeah.
There's no one here. You can't see the audience. You don't know who's listening. And 99% of people that listen to a podcast won't leave a comment.
Yeah.
So you don't know who listens to it until someone goes, oh, I've listened to it and I like it, or I've listened to this episode or whatever. So honestly, it was a bit of a pinch me moment to reach out to you and say that.
I listen to so many founder podcasts, and honestly, the thing that keeps bringing me back to yours is you don't ask linear questions in the way that like you would ordinarily expect, and you really get into the details. So I knew that as my first, it needed to be you.
Honestly, such a privilege. It's such a privilege because I think you can admire these people and look at these people online. But in 2026, probably more 2025, 2026, I've really been trying to focus on making more female founder relationships because I feel as though I have a great network of founders, but majority of them are male.
Yeah.
And a majority of them are so much more open to connecting and sharing their secrets or like sharing what they're going through and being really real. Whereas I feel like to date, I've really not found that many. Like I've got some great, which I know that you know Sophie.
Yes, love Soph. She's amazing.
I like that we've got some common kind of mutuals.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, it's really important for me to grow that female founder network because I just think it is so lonely as a founder sometimes. Now, I want to start where perhaps the internet cuts off.
Yeah.
And there's a lot about you online. You share a lot on TikTok, probably not personal life, but you share a lot about your brand, the process of it, building the brand, which is Capsule Wardrobe.
Yeah.
What is something that most people don't know about you?
Something that the internet doesn't know about me?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know what? It was a timing thing for me, which is why I didn't share this thing. It was really close to my launch and I made a conscious decision of not sharing this because I didn't want it to overpower the launch. But in November of 2024, so we launched the brand in March of 25, but in November I was diagnosed with ADHD, which is actually so common. And now I know that, but at the time I was not aware of like how common it was amongst women. And I deep dived into the research as I always do. And I'm not gonna lie, it scared the shit out of me. And I feel like I almost became a victim to it. And then everything sort of started rolling in from there, the imposter syndrome of, I have this thing is debilitating me, how am I gonna now go, put it all behind me and be the face of this brand and build this brand in the way that I know that this brand deserves. So I really struggled with it for about 2 months. And then out of nowhere, I broke down one night. We were really close to the launch and I was really doubting myself and my ability to step onto the big stage and launch this brand in a really big way. And my husband looked at me and he said, you don't understand that this thing that you think is holding you back is actually the thing that has propelled you to be where you are today. Without this, you wouldn't have the dynamic mind to think as quickly as you do, be as creative as you are, be as innovative as you are, and you wouldn't be you. And so now I really take it in my stride. I feel like could I have the opportunity to take that away from me? That is something that I would never take away from me. Just looking at my days and like my ability to execute on crazy ideas so quickly and go from A to B like so seamlessly and easily is just, yeah, it's amazing, and I wouldn't take it away.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. And I feel as though so many people that I know that have been diagnosed with ADHD later on in life have said like the one reoccurring theme that I've had replayed back to me is like, it's made my life make a lot more sense. I'm quickly interrupting the episode before we get in too deep. If you want behind the scenes thoughts that I don't always share on the mic, as well as exclusive events, cheat sheets, and workshop invites, they go to my email list. You can sign up in the show notes. That's where the real stuff lives. Now back to the episode. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I deep dived first into what are the symptoms, but why do I act the way that I act? And I feel like so much of my childhood was like, it just all of a sudden made sense to me. And instead of, a thing about ADHD is, especially amongst women, it's very common to feel self-blame and self-pity. And so I feel like for most of my life, I grew up and I was like, why can't I concentrate in class? Why do I feel like the days get away from me? Why am I so hard on myself and my self-image? And then understanding sort of the thought process behind it all and understanding like what it does, it was almost like okay, breath of fresh air. Like, it wasn't me. I live with something that, like, I am neurodivergent, but you can look at it as a weakness, or you can, again, take it in your stride and embrace it. And yeah, it's amazing.
No, I love that. I think I felt like I went through something similar when I had my anxiety. And like, I was diagnosed with chronic anxiety at a period of time. And I feel like you always live with it. I don't think you ever get rid of it. And I think that it's just learning how to manage it better. But at the moment, I'm like, I don't think I would be as good as I am in business if I didn't have anxiety. Because right now, I think of like option A through to Z every single day of the week of like, okay, if this doesn't work, we'll do this. If that doesn't work, we'll do that. Like, and I have this like, not backup plan, but I have solutions for everything.
100%.
And I'm like, it could either be something that I'm like, oh, I have anxiety, like poor me.
Yeah.
Or it can be something that I can embrace and kind of really lean into to use as a strength of mine. Now, you launched Capsule Wardrobe in 2022.
25.
25?
Yeah, last March. We're not even a year old.
That's crazy, because there's like 3 or 4 things that I've seen online that say that you've launched it earlier.
I think it might, because I was wondering where 22 came from. I think it may have been even not even 22 though. I registered the business name in 23.
Strange.
22, I was busy planning a wedding.
Love. I love that. Well, you've only had it for a year, which is absolutely wild. I remember when I first kind of saw it come on my socials, and I was like, this is really interesting, because I was somebody that very much, like, when I started my own business, I got rid of all of my clothes in my wardrobe that I used to wear in my corporate job. And I was like, right, how do I want to dress? What do I want to feel like? What clothes am I wearing that I can wear at work, but I can also wear in my day that makes me look elevated and not corporate? And I rehauled my entire wardrobe. And then when I saw your brand, I was like, that's so clever, because all the pieces that I was collecting was from such different brands and locations, and trying to find something that matched something, or like, you know, a cream that matched another cream is crazy. Talk me through how you took it from an idea that you had and what you were doing before you launched it to where you are now.
Yeah, okay. We're going back to the start. I think another thing the internet doesn't know about me is how long I truly ideated the idea of the brand. So to take it right back to the beginning, through school, I want to say I was an average student in school up until about year 11. But the one consistent thing for me was textiles and design. I found that creative process it just fed my soul. It was the reason I got out of bed in school. It was with that attention deficit. Now looking back, I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, the creative side, I was driving so hard, and then the academic side, I just lacked interest. And then by year 11, I knew I wanted to make a career out of it. I was so set on it. So I started doing research into, okay, what are my options post-school? At the time, I wanted to study, I think it was a design degree at UTS. And I remember the marks being like exorbitant. I think it was like 96 at the time.
Crazy.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm not an academic kid. How am I going to make this work? How am I going to get into this? But I think one thing with me is when I set my mind to something and I want something bad enough, nothing will stop me. And so I applied myself crazily through year 11 and 12 and ended up getting the marks to get in, and just feeling so proud of that accomplishment, I ended up sharing it with far too many people. And I guess naively at the time, thinking that everybody would be so supportive, the adults in my life sort of turned to me and said, you know, fashion is a really hard industry. You'll give your life up for it, and financially you'll struggle for the rest of your life. You've got an amazing marks. Like, why don't you use those marks to apply your intelligence in a career path that's a little bit more stable and reliable? And I mean, at the time, like, these adults were my world. Like, they knew better than me. And so about a week after getting the mark, I changed my preferences. I went and studied an economics degree, and I was a property developer for 8 years, which is crazy.
Crazy.
So crazy. And it was like, looking back at that time, I think I was somebody that loved fashion so, so much, but the reality of my days then quickly became I was on site, and my uniform was a hard hat, steel caps, a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. And it was my reality every single day. And so when you do that enough over a long enough period of time, I sort of started to really lose my sense of self and my sense of style. And the only way that I could think to fulfill that gap, that honestly, it felt like a missing part of me, was through spending excessively on clothes. And I would spend so much money to try to feel like me again. And then I'd have this wardrobe full of clothes that didn't pair together. Every single morning I'd have mental breakdowns of what I was wearing. And I was like, surely I can't be the only person that's going through this. Coincidingly, it was 2020, so it was COVID. And the podcast era was really starting to kick off. And I was walking a lot. And I found myself really naturally gravitating towards founder-led podcasts. But more than that, really understanding and unpacking this interest of not even building brand. Like, I was leaning on founders that would build these worlds, like these universes for people to exist in. And I became so ridiculously obsessed. Like, I would listen to like 4 podcasts a day. It was crazy. And deep down, I knew that maybe this career path that I had chosen, that I had convinced everybody so desperately in my life that I loved, wasn't for me. So I booked a trip to Europe with my girlfriend.
Love.
And I met a boy over there. And one night we were out, and it was the first time ever that I had admitted out loud that I didn't love what I was doing, and it was so scary to me. And he looked at me, and I was actually just ready to accept the answer that everyone else had told me. Like, you're on such a good wicket. Why would you leave this career? Like, they're promoting you. Like, if you stay, you're going to be someone really important one day. And he looked at me and he said, I mean, it makes sense. If you don't see yourself doing what you're doing today in 5 years' time, then why are you wasting another second doing it? And I was like, it's not that simple. And he's like, no, it really is.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. And so I came home from Europe, and I knew that if I was going to do it, like, I had listened to the most inspiring stories, and I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need capital to do this. I'm going to need to do this the right way. Because I truly at that point believed that the issue that I was facing was going to be a global experienced issue for women everywhere. And so I stayed in the job for 3.5 years. I saved every single penny I could. 3.5 years later, we were back in Europe. I actually married the guy that I told this to. And he just looked at me and he was like, you have saved enough money. Like, you are secure. If you were to leave your job, what would the brand be called? And I was like, I didn't want to admit it out loud because I was too scared to do the Google search because I knew I needed it to be called what it's currently called. And I said to him, if Capsule Wardrobe is available, which it still is, it's got like millions of hashtags on social media. If the name's available to purchase and trademark, I'll leave my job when I get home. Like, you have my word. And so we looked it up. It was available. And the day I got home, I put in my resignation and I haven't looked back.
Crazy. So you knew that it was going to be called Capsule Wardrobe.
Yeah.
And you knew the idea of what it was. Had you been working on that for the 3 years that you were saving? Like, you knew what it was?
No. So I knew that I wanted to start a fashion label.
Yep.
But I think that today where people come unstuck, I get so many questions asking, I really want to start a brand. Like, I don't know what to do. Do you have any advice? And my advice is always, the market is so saturated. Enter into the space when you know that you're filling a gap and there is white space in the industry that you're entering into. So I knew I wanted to start a fashion label, but I didn't know what gap it was filling. And I wasn't just going to come out with another fashion brand. And so I was almost trying to force the idea for so long. And then it would have probably been a year before we went on our honeymoon that I was like, hold on a second, let's just look at my life. Like, what problem am I facing right now? Let's reverse engineer the experience that I'm having in my wardrobe and let's solve for it. And that's how it came to be.
That was it.
Yeah.
Love it. Now, for anyone that doesn't know the brand, you are Capsule Wardrobe and you have capsules of items of clothing that you can sell as a capsule, which is how many pieces?
So the concept is we sell fully curated capsules, which we define as 12 pieces. And the idea is that if you purchase the full capsule, not only do we guarantee that it mix and matches so seamlessly, but there's a section of our website called our style guide section where we will physically go in and teach you over 300 ways that you can style that capsule back. And we do that through a process of filtering. So you can essentially go onto our website and say, okay, where am I going? What time of day is it? What is the dress code? What is my body shape? And it will filter styles down for you to style, and it will give recommended accessory purchases, which will link you to the sites to check out. So if you purchase the full capsule, you get a 30% discount on the full thing. And if you purchase a partial capsule, which is building your own, 6 or more pieces, you get 20% off. And I think that's the overt part of the business that everybody knows, understands, and loves. But the second part of the business for me was, and a real gap that I saw was, I am somebody that obsesses over quality. And I was somebody that would save all of my pennies to go and spend over $1,000 on a blazer. And I was like, if I'm gonna start this brand, one, I need to fully unpack what goes into making clothing great, like the amazing clothing that you touch and feel and you're like, this is a luxury experience. And the flip coin of that, the price. And so it took me, honestly, a year of onboarding and speaking to every single expert that I could. And then working so closely with suppliers to figure out if I could bring an incredible product to market at a price that I feel is attainable, because like I said, this concept is universally felt. I didn't want to bring out another brand that solved a massive issue, but only 2% of the population could get their hands on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we lead with.
Do you think that there was a big mindset shift where you go from idea to actually executing and delivery in terms of the way in which you're thinking about the product?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, I mean, I sort of get a divided response when I say this, and 100% I stand by the fact that you need to be in the position to do so. And for me, that looked like staying in a job that I really resented for more time than I needed to. But I think in order to be great at anything and in order to build something really worthwhile, you need to fully immerse yourself in it.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, the way that I'm ideating this brand and where I want to take this brand, there is no way I can do this as a side hustle. And also the fact that we were I mean, me specifically, before my husband and I got married and we combined our finances, I was risking my entire life savings. And then when we got married, I was risking mine and his life savings. And that was our deposit for a house. And so I was like, in order to make this work, I need to be fully immersed in it. And I need to give this everything that I've got. And that's where I've seen the success.
Yeah, I love that. In terms of taking the guesswork out of getting dressed, I mean, it's something that I see. I mean, I still see it now with my own wardrobe. Like, I feel like I've simplified it a lot.
Yeah.
What is the biggest insight into taking that guesswork outside of having like a limited number of pieces in your wardrobe? What do you think the biggest insight that you've learned is when it comes to actually taking the guesswork out of it?
Yeah, and it comes back to what you were saying before. For me, I always struggled with, I would go to said store and I would buy a blazer that was green. And then I would go to other said store and I'd buy a pair of pants that were navy. And then I would fill my wardrobe with all of these pieces from all of these different places. And I wouldn't ever truly understand how those places fit together in a really neat puzzle. And once I did finally find a way that it fit together, I felt like the pieces were so overt and loud that, God forbid, I be seen in this same outfit again. And so for me, number one, it was coming out with a curated capsule where the colors were really considered and the patterns were really considered and the fabrics and the fibers worked together. So you really can take the guesswork out of getting dressed. Like, you can have confidence that pairing this pair of pants with this top and this blazer, or vice versa, they will all work together. But second to that, actually educating the customer on how to do that. Like, for me, I found that that was the missing part of my puzzle. I was like, I've got all these clothes, but there's no one out there actually teaching me how to put these together. There's no resource out there that's actually teaching me how to dress for my style and teaching me how I can feel different and beautiful and amazing and confident and empowered with the clothing that I had. And so my solution was always just to keep spending. When in actual fact, like, Capsule exists today. Yes, we're a fashion brand, but I've always said, providing the product is a byproduct of what we do. At our core, we're here to teach our customer how to wear their clothing, how to feel empowered.
Totally. And do you think that a huge part of that also, like, I feel like, you know, we were just talking before we started filming, like, I lost a lot of weight and, you know, after gaining a lot of weight after an incident that I had, but learning to dress your body type is so important.
Yeah.
What have you learned over this process when it comes to dressing for your body type?
It plays such a huge role, honestly. And I don't know if you've ever had the experience of going onto Pinterest.
Oh yeah.
Seeing an outfit, being like, oh my God, this is so chic, so simple. I have all of these pieces in my wardrobe. And then putting it on, looking in the mirror and being like,
I look like a potato. I used to do that when I was going to my corporate job, because I would go to the gym in the morning. So I packed my bag the night before, and that's where I fell into the trap of just being dresses and blazers, because I was like, it was easy. I didn't have to think about it. I knew that it all went together. But I would, on the odd occasion that I would put a skirt and top in my bag, or a pant and a top in my bag, I'd get to the gym, train, shower, have like 25 minutes to get dressed to go to work. And I put my outfit on and I was like, well, this looks good in my head, but now it doesn't. So are there like any core principles that you've learned over the way, like along the way, that you are like, these are like the 3 principles for understanding your body type?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually taught to me by a dear friend who has come on board as a stylist in the brand. Her name's Catherine Londorno. She taught me really early on the importance of understanding your proportions as a body type and as a female. And so there are 3 core types of body types. It's pear straight. To simplify it, you can either have a balanced, unbalanced, or even body shape. Depending on if you're balanced, let's say you're unbalanced, for instance, and your legs are super long and your torso is super short.
That's me.
There you go. So in that instance, if you have long legs and a short torso, you need to neutralize your body. So you wouldn't be wearing high-waisted pants, because all that's going to do is elongate your legs even further and create a short torso. So instead, you're going to opt for a long line blazer, which actually balances out your top from your bottom and makes you feel holistic. Whereas the issue with Pinterest is, when you're looking at an outfit, it extends so much further beyond the outfit that they're wearing. It extends to the person that's actually wearing it. You could be looking at a woman that is quite balanced and she's wearing high-waisted pants and a shirt that's tucked in and a belt, and then you put it on yourself and you're like, wait, it doesn't look good. I'm the same body shape, I'm the same body size, but it just doesn't translate on me. So I think understanding that and educating that to our customers has been a game changer. We actually held a style night in our office and we invited Catherine in to teach our audience how to identify their proportions. And I still get messages today about how just understanding that has changed their lives.
I love that. Now, you were saying before you started this brand, like you were constantly buying stuff. How would you explain your style then? Hello, just a reminder, this podcast only works because you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's the easiest way to support me. So go on, hit subscribe, I'll wait. Okay, now back to the episode.
Chaotic, overt, messy, just not. And because of that, and it came at a time in my life where I was really confused. I was confused with my career path. I was confused with where my life was headed. I'm always somebody that is driven by purpose, and I didn't have purpose back then. And I think that explicitly showed through what I was wearing. Now, just being able to pare back my wardrobe to its core principles and understanding, number one, the art of getting dressed and understanding my body, but number two, the art of actually styling an outfit to look different and feel different has allowed me to show up as the most authentic, confident version of myself. Had I been sat in this chair 3 years ago, dressed the way that I used to dress, I don't think I'd be showing up as the same version as Ashley that sits in front of you.
Yeah, I do think that the way in which you dress has such a knock-on effect to your confidence and the way in which you show up, and I'm super conscious of that. Like, even if I'm just working from home, I will always like put my makeup on, like get dressed. Like, I might be in comfier clothes, but I'm like, if I feel put together, I'm going to turn up and do work in a way that's put together versus not. So understanding that style, now how would you describe your style?
I would describe my style as confident, minimalist, and elevated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Now, in my research that I was doing, obviously Capsule Wardrobe was like something huge on social media for a while. Like, there was everyone, which I fell into, like, you know, what 10 pieces can you have that you can make 300 outfits with? And you're like, what? That's crazy. I think one of the biggest criticisms of capsule wardrobes is that they're boring.
Yeah.
And there's no color to them because it's harder to match colors. So what would you say to somebody that's like wanting to streamline their wardrobe and their style and kind of really set a standard for themselves in the way in which they show up in the world, if they're wanting to incorporate color and things like that, but they want that streamlined capsule wardrobe?
I would say that there's a world that where both can definitely exist.
Yeah.
And in fact, I get asked this question so many times, but capsule wearings are boring. Like, how? And I'm not boring, and I don't want to be boring. And to that, I turn to them and say, I'm anything but boring.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I created this brand. I'm here to prove that you can have a wardrobe solution that really, really works for you whilst feeling like I'm a fashion girl through and through. I wanted to be a designer for my whole entire life. I created the brand to prove that it doesn't have to be boring. Like, and if you are somebody that loves color, you can 100% dress like that. I think it's just paring it back, peeling the concept back to its core, which is fundamentally core pieces that mix and match together. I've got an incredible friend called Maxine Wild, and she deep dives in how to pair basic color ranges together to have a plethora of outfit options through color exploration, and the concepts of a capsule wardrobe are still there. Like she's actually got an incredible brand herself now called Romeo Waiting. She has a basic skirt, a basic tank top in all different colors, and they're basics. The concept of a capsule is there, but she teaches women how to actually pair those colors together. And that's where I think that the power of a capsule is really unlocked when you look beyond the boring means of the blue jeans and the black top and the white t-shirt. Like, it's understanding how they compare together, how you can layer them, and then how you can style them to make it your own.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I feel as though I'm someone that loved colourful pieces in my wardrobe, but found it really hard to mix them. So defaulted to more neutrals. But then when I want to accessorize, I bring in those colours or those patterns and things like that. And that's how I get around it, because I'm like, that's the only way. Totally. Otherwise, I just go rogue with colours and then I end up with nothing that I can wear.
Yeah.
Now, you being a year old, we were just talking about this before we started filming, but you have an insane community that you've built over the course of the last 12 months. And notably, I kind of recognised it when, you know, we saw your recent pop-up that you did, and it was all over my feed, like everywhere.
That's good.
Which we love. How important is community for starting a brand and growing a brand?
It's honestly, it's not even I don't think that not having a community in this day and age isn't an option. And I knew that if I was going to quit my job, I made it my driving force, my sole purpose to understand, one, how to build a community, but even further than that, how humans connect on a core level. And so for me, I think it's really interesting. One misconception about me is that I was a content creator that saw an opportunity to start a fashion brand, and so I started one. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I decided to quit my job to start the fashion brand. And at that moment that I quit my job, I made a promise to myself that I was going to build an audience and a community that resonated with my struggles and bought into the solution that I was then going to offer. And so I started, I think when thinking about the idea of building a community and building brand in general, I think it's so important to understand that how humans connect fundamentally. And it's through, my experience has been, it's through shared experience and common issues and problems that are faced. And so I very rawly and candidly started sharing this problem that I was facing of, I have a wardrobe full of clothes, but I have no idea what to wear. And the more that I shared it, the more, and people had no idea I had any intention to start a brand, but the more I shared it, the more I had women flooding my DMs saying that they completely resonated and asking if I had any recommendations on how to combat it, or if I could share my journey on how I was combating it. And so I started to then organically share through my, at that time, I already had done my research with the Capsule Wardrobe. I knew that it worked for me. I knew I was coming up with the brand. But I strategically started sharing the process of what a capsule wardrobe was and bringing them on this journey on how to build one. And so by the time that I went to announce that I was launching a fashion label, that community fully trusted my voice. They fully resonated with my struggles, and they were really committed to understanding what the solution was. And so because of that, I've then been able to really bring them under my wing and bring them on this journey of bringing this amazing brand to life. And it's shown in what we've managed to do in the last 10 months.
Yeah, which is crazy. Where do you think most people go wrong with community?
I think that in this day and age, community is such a buzzword.
Yeah, I hate it.
It's being thrown around.
But everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Literally, it's being thrown around left, right, and center. And for me, a personal pet peeve is when people say, "Oh, we're doing this to build community," or "We're building our community," but then their actions aren't actually stacking up to the words that they're saying. And the reality is, your audience can see through that. And I think one reason why Capsule has had so much success and continues to be so successful is because we do what we say. Like, this is a brand for every single woman, and I am a personal testament to that. Like, I will be in my DMs every single night responding to every single woman that wears the brand, shares the brand, recommends the brand. We don't have much spend. Like, this is a bootstrap business. It's my own money that I'm putting behind this all, my own money that I had saved. And yet, instead of doing influencer events solely to bring creators in, and I understand the power of the influencer world, I understand the power of a creator, like I do that as a side hustle, but instead of putting my money to that, I refuse to. I hold community events, I bring women in, I am obsessed with understanding what their problems are, what their struggles are, and how I can help them. And I think that when you get to that level of obsession, like, proximity is power. If the closer I can get to my customer, the closer I can get to forming this community and having this community speak to each other and then report back to me, the closer I am to scaling this business onto a global stage so it can be felt by everyone.
You're so right. With your community, I want to go back to the pop-up that I was talking about just before.
Yeah.
You did this pop-up with another brand.
Yeah.
Balmy.
We've had two now. So our first pop-up was with Esme,
Yep.
which is an incredible fragrance brand started by my friend Ed Hansen in Bondi. Yep. And that came together really organically. We had met 3 years prior and then sort of were friends from afar supporting each other. And he reached out to me a month before the product to send me some of his a month before the pop-up to send me some of his product. And of course I said yes, because I love supporting startups. And it arrived to our office door within 30 minutes. And when I received this product, I voice noted him. He's actually saved the voice note. It's hilarious. And I was like, I have no idea how you've done what you've done, but you will be the next Simone Giacomus. Like, the way that you have executed, the way that this has evoked a feeling in me, like, I feel completely seen by you as a founder. Like, I put that same love, energy, and love and energy into creating my own brand. And so I called him and I was like, we need to collaborate. Like, what you're doing is exactly what I'm trying to do. I can see your commitment to your community. Let's make something work. So we proposed a pop-up. I actually proposed the pop-up 8 days before the pop-up happened, and we pulled it off in...
Crazy. I think that's the content that landed on my page.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah. And I loved it. And then your most recent one
was with Balmy.
With Balmy, yeah.
And an incredible hair salon called Peaches Rose Hair. And again, that came about, Phoebes and I, we were both holidaying at the same place in January, and she started this incredible brand. It's a lip balm that's actually good for your microbiome.
Yes.
And we were sitting by the pool and she was like, oh my God, showing me her community and showing me reviews and how much the community loved the product. And I could just see how much she cared about the people in the brand. And again, it was the same feeling that I got with Ed. I was like, we need to come together.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to identify those brands that actually truly care about the people that they're creating for.
Totally. Or just generally care, right? I think, like, so many people start a business because they're like, I want to get rich, I want to make money. Like, that's the end goal. And I feel as though, I know we were talking about this when we first spoke, but I feel as though female founders in particular, I'm not saying all female founders or all male founders, but I feel as though female founders in particular start a brand because they've got this feeling or this emotion that they want to change or help, or, you know, there's something behind it outside of making money.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't get me wrong. Making money is a great byproduct of that, and you're not in business to not make money. But I think that I've found through, you know, many discussions that I've had either on the podcast or in my own network, most men get into business because they're like, this is an idea that I have and it's going to make me money. Most women get into business because they're like, I'm going to start this business because it's going to help this person, or it's going to change the life of this person, or it's going to be something different seen before. And I feel like there's that real distinction. Now, fashion is such a huge category, as you said before. Was there any preconceived ideas that you had about the category before going into it that you've now realized are not actually true?
Especially when I was building Capsule Wardrobe, I felt this strong affiliation with women on the internet talking about really wanting to slow down their consumption of fashion and really wanting to make considered choices when it came to their wardrobe. And I think what I've found since launching the brand is really just how fast-paced this industry moves. I can release a product tomorrow and in 2 days' time it can be completely not relevant in market. And it's really crazy to me at how quickly that churn happens. And I needed to make a really conscious decision instead of chasing that top line, I'm going to say, not even a bottom line, because if you chase it that quickly, your bottom line is going to be affected. But chasing that top line revenue, I needed to make a conscious decision to say, you know what, we're not going to go with the status quo here. We're going to stick to our guns of we release slow fashion, we curate capsules that are built to last, and we design pieces that are built to last. And however the customer responds to that, we will find our customer. The customer that resonates with that, we will find. And I think we have a responsibility as a brand to continue to show up unapologetically and show our customer how to wear and rewear their clothing in a way that looks and feels unique to them every time they put it on. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong. There will be a time in the brand where I've got a team and I'm able to release product more frequently. But at my core, I will never release anything that is trend led. I will never release anything because I feel pressure to not stay relevant in market, because it goes against the whole ethos of my brand.
Yeah, I love that. Now, going back to community, which we hate the word, but it's relevant for what we're talking about. When it comes to brand and community and sharing what you do, like a lot of your content is sharing the behind the scenes, the highs, the lows, and it's something that really resonated with me after the first time that we spoke. I was like, oh my God, I want to have her on the podcast even more now, because you're so real with what you share. And I feel as though the authenticity, it's funny, like I talk about this all the time now, is that, you know, Instagram when it first started was instant. Right? Like you couldn't take a photo outside of the platform and then upload it. Like you had to take it in the platform. And I feel as though now when you get an authentic person online, people are like, it's so rare. And therefore they're shocked by it. And they're like, I want to follow this person because they're like, it's so rare. But it should just be the norm.
Totally.
Do you share everything in the business online?
Yes, now I do. I think at the start, I want the brand to exist outside of me. And I really am building a brand that will live beyond me and live as its own entity. And so at the start, I had this perception of my mind of, oh, I actually can't share the good, the bad, the real, the ugly, because it may come at the expense of the brand and the brand position in market. What I came to learn is, it was one particular TikTok. I shared a huge fault in the brand, which cost the brand over $10,000, which at the time, it still is a huge amount of money for any startup that's self-funded. And the response that I got in my DMs, like, I didn't have a community. I had girls rallying for me. Like, they wanted to see me win. And it was there that I realized, wait a second, people connect to people. They will connect to the brand. The brand is amazing. The brand has its own heartbeat. And I am so curated with the brand, and people feel that polished sense of self that I want to set for that brand. But when it comes to me and my personal brand, people connect to my story. And if I didn't have that story, I truly don't think I would have half the customers that I have today. And so I think it's about letting your ego go. Stephen Bartlett actually said on a podcast recently, and it's stuck with me ever since, embarrassment is the price of entry. And I really believe it.
This conversation doesn't end here. Part 2 is where we go deeper. Make sure you subscribe so you know when part 2 drops. Remember, you don't win by posting more. You win by being the name they think of first. Stay top of mind.